like I became a ball of light and I shot up into the air, and it was amazing. And I can't remember at this point what was happening around me. I just became absolutely aware of what I was experiencing, and when this happened, what I was feeling is total exhilaration, like that doesn't even exist in this world. I can't even describe it. It's totally indescribable. But if you could imagine your most happiest moment and the joy maybe that a child feels maybe on Christmas morning, multiplied times a million, maybe that's what it felt like. And going 1,000,000 miles an hour, as fast as you can go up into the air. And all these other lights were around me. Granted, I wasn't in my body. I knew I was a ball of light, and there were other balls around me, and we were like bumping into each other. And every time we would bump into each other, it was like an explosion would occur, and that exhilarating joy in my heart would explode, and it would multiply. And it was almost like in my physical, I didn't know, if I wasn't aware of my physical body, but if I were, I don't think my physical body could have handled what was happening, because it was like too much joy to contain in this body, way too much. So it was something that has never been experienced, that I've never experienced in this world. And so if you can imagine shooting, and I felt like I was in the atmosphere of space, but beyond space, like into a whole different dimension, into a whole different atmosphere. And it was unbelievable. And light was all around me, but I knew that those other lights were my brothers and my sisters. And it was just amazing, an amazing unifying feeling. And I thought the rapture was happening in real life. And the next thing I knew, I was flat like this, and I knew I was before Jesus. I couldn't lift anything. I couldn't lift any part of my body. I was flat like a pancake in his presence. And I can only explain to you what it felt like. It felt like there was a weight on me, a weightiness in the whole atmosphere that would not let me move a muscle. Wouldn't let me move, and I knew that was his glory. His glory was all around me, and I couldn't move. I was just like this, and I knew he was right before me, but I couldn't even lift my head. And I knew he was looking at me, and I knew I was being weighed and measured. And there were two things happening. First is I was experiencing a love like no other, to the point where if I could have just laid there and not moved and been there in that presence for ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, that would have been enough for me. That would have been perfectly fine. In fact, it would have been amazing for me to just lay there and just be in that presence for all eternity. In fact, it would have been what I would wanted. I would have never wanted to move from that presence. It was unbelievable, like complete absorption of love and exactly everything above and beyond what I was made for. That I was experiencing that, and I knew I was completely known, completely loved, and completely accepted and wanted. Everything about me was being seen and loved in that moment. But because I was being seen and loved in that moment, I could see the truth about myself. And that part of me made me want to weep, and this is the part that changed me, because I could see the truth about myself, and I knew I was being seen, and I knew I was being weighed, and I could see all of my life, and he was looking at all of my life, and even though I couldn't see, I knew what he was seeing.